Hey everybody, Karyn Bryant for MMA Heat talking with Andre Touchy Fili. We usually would be talking about fights, but right now we're talking about a new film that he is in. It is called Green Rush, coming out on April 14th. Andre, thank you so much for talking with me today, and congrats. Is this your first job as an actor, or have you done a little of this before?
This is my first. This is my first real acting job. Yeah, this is my first. This is my first feature film for sure. I'm gonna walk over here. I'm at a park, so I'm trying to stay where it's quiet. Can you still see me okay?
Yeah, we can definitely still see you okay. And yes, of course, we should say that this interview is taking place, of course, during the coronavirus outbreak. So you're out there distancing yourself. I love that you're out there getting some fresh air. I was kind of joking it right away. It looks almost like, oh, okay, now it's a little light though now. If we could get you a little bit, I can see your face a little better. No, not with the sun right behind you. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good.
How about that?
Okay. Yeah, so one of the things that's fun about this movie is they say that it is based on true events. So maybe it's just easier for you to kind of give a synopsis of this, but it does take place in the marijuana industry in Northern California.
Right. Speaking of that, shout out to Puffy Delivery. We're talking about marijuana in Northern California. Puffy Delivery. A couple of my buddies running that company. They're killing it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern California around a bunch of weed. So it was a really easy role to get into, like they were like, hey, we want you to play a sketchy weed farmer cousin. And I was just like, all right, cool. Like that's every kid I went to high school with. So easy, been planning my whole life for this.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Well, in the storyline, so the guys have kind of a smaller operation, and they're talking about the fact that when it got legalized and the bigger guys can come in and take over. So you are part of a team of guys that run sort of a smaller independent growery, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like a family-owned grow operation, and there's a lot of conflicting interests. Like you said, there's big corporations, there's small mom and pop setups, and then there's obviously anytime you have something that's black market, you attract a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
And cannabis is like in a weird gray market area, so you kind of have legitimate businessmen and you have illegitimate businessmen, and it's sort of that blending, the blending of those two worlds, and sort of the repercussions of not being around trustworthy people. So it's a good movie. It's sort of like a home invasion on a giant cannabis farm. We filmed on location. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool. Felt really organic. It was a really cool experience. Yeah,
nice.
I'm super thankful for it.
Well, and it does feel that way. No pun on organic.
Yeah, right.
I was like, yeah. But it is funny because like I said, it is based on true events or something. So did you know about this real story, the facts behind the case?
Yeah. So. It's actually based on something that had happened. I can't go into too much detail, but it's based on something that actually happened to the friend of the director's.
Okay. And
he was there for the filming and was kind of talking about his experience, and was there sort of to, he was there talking about his experience and sort of like what it was like, and sort of talking about the things that he went through. So it was cool. It was almost like I don't want to say like. When it was interesting for sure. It was interesting to be filming something that's like very graphic and very violent and is obviously for entertainment purposes, but there's a guy who'd actually been through it, on set. It was very interesting. And I actually heard him tell his story, and it was very intense. There was a lot of intense moments filming for sure.
Yeah. Well, I can only imagine. And that's the thing the movie does. Definitely you feel that tension ramp up. And as you were just saying, it is kind of this close quarters event that ends up happening in a lot of, I don't want to give anything away here, but a lot of stressful situations and some close quarters and stuff. So when it comes to some of the action scenes, some of the fight scenes, we should say that Urijah Faber is one of the producers on this. Obviously, you have real fight experience and things. What was it like for you to get into doing some of these action things? I can't give away too much what happens with you and your character, but how did that feel for you? Did that part, I would imagine, come really naturally? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was some physicality to the role, but what I actually liked about the experience was that I got to play a real character. I got to really act. I didn't want to do a scene. I didn't want to do. You see a lot of athletes do movies where they like jump on screen and throw a spinning kick and get shot and fall off screen. That's their whole thing. Like I didn't want to do that. I wanted to really act. Like I wanted to really have a character that mattered to the narrative. And I think I got the chance to do that, and So there is some physicality, and I throw a couple punches in the movie, but it's not really the point of the character. So I was really thankful they gave me an opportunity to actually act, and not to just be a fighter guy in a movie. So
Yep.
that was something I was really, really excited about.
Well, yeah, and you do a good job with it, and that's one thing that's difficult for people because acting is about vulnerability, and your character in this film isn't as much of a hard guy as maybe some other people, or he's just got more things going on and more concerns.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about acting, vulnerability is really what makes an actor good. So we know that you are willing to walk into a dogfight. We know that you've put it all in the line in other respects in your life, but was this scary for you to stretch in this new way?
It wasn't scary. It was fun, honestly.
Yeah.
It's one thing, like when you're acting, even if you suck, or even if you're not good, like no one's gonna kick you in the head. Like there's always that. Like
True.
you can like no one's gonna knock you out in front of a bunch of people. So like you can be thankful for that, you know. Like, but I did want to make sure that I didn't like blow it. I'm around a bunch of experienced, seasoned, really talented actors,
Right.
and I'm the only guy who hasn't done this before.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the fighter guy who came in and couldn't act. So I made sure that I made sure I practiced. I made sure I knew my lines. I'm a movie nerd, and I watch a lot of acting, and I watch a lot of great actors, and I try to emulate that. And I just keep that, like, it's anything like my jiu-jitsu coach, Chris Holdsworth, says, you got to keep a white belt mentality where you can always learn, like no matter how good you get at something or how bad you suck at something, like as long as you're open and you're willing to learn. So that was the biggest thing. Like I tried to be receptive. I tried to be coachable. If someone gave me some advice, I tried to follow it. And I just did my best. Like obviously you don't want to be the guy who ruins it. So you got to step up. You got to really like take it. You got to take it serious and treat it like it's a serious thing. But there wasn't a lot of pressure. It was more fun than anything else. It was just a new thing and kind of a new feather in my cap. I'm excited to do more.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because you do a good job with it, and of course that makes you wonder if you're going to do more of it. I don't know if you, like you just said, you did a lot of, you watch a lot of acting and that kind of thing. I don't know if you've actually done any classes or anything like that, or if that's something that you would do now, or you can just use this as a calling card to try to get you some more work.
Yeah, I mean, being an actor is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've always liked acting, and I'm a huge movie guy. I have Daniel Day-Lewis tattooed on me. Like I'm a huge movie guy.
He's so good.
So he's so good. I'm a movie guy, and I've always wanted to act. And missing a front tooth and having throat tattoos, you get typecast a little bit. I'm probably never gonna play like the young dad at the PTA meeting or something. Like I'm never going to be that guy, but I think acting is something that I think comes naturally to me, and I think if I work hard at it, I could excel at it, and I'd like the opportunity to do it more. It's something I'm going to pursue, and something that I'm going to be successful at. It's something that I really am excited to pursue. So but it's important. Oh, there he is.
Hey, there he is.
Look at that goatee, dude. The California
dad. This is the quarantine life, buddy.
Yeah.
The most people I've ever had in my life.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Urijah Faber, of course, who is one of the producers on this. So, Urijah, we were just talking to Andre about the fact that he does. Actually, I wonder if the other orientation might work better for you. Here we go. Since it was the first time that we've seen Andre act, but we're saying that it comes naturally to him, and it seems like this is something that he's going to be able to use to just take off and do more of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I made the joke that Fili's good at everything that you can do well and make a lot of money with head tats and homemade tats all over your hands and stuff. Yeah. He's got his own music. He's got his own clothing line. He's got the acting thing and the fight game. So, he's the mastermind of his own little world.
You gotta get it how you live.
It's great. Well, it's great. And you're totally right. But so I have to ask you for this one, Urijah, because you are an executive producer on this. Just basically, what made you want to be part of telling this story?
Well, I'm producer. Executive producer is someone that just puts money in. Producing is like being a contractor. You put all the pieces together and help put the pieces together, and so that includes getting funding. Overlooking the project and doing whatever you can. Andre's known about this for years, that I've got these projects that we're working on. And this one, one of the coolest things about Andre and people like Andre are they're not afraid to say what they want to do. And so he told me a long time ago when I was getting into this that he wanted to get into acting, and he had really studied it and he's passionate about it. If you talk to Andre about the film stuff, I mean, he geeks out on it, including comic books and a bunch of other kind of things that you wouldn't think of from him. But you know, this is a team of people that all had kind of like something to prove, you know. Working actors, a lot of great actors that were involved in this, writers, directors, cinematographers that are looking kind of for their opportunity. So we just kind of wanted to make a great product and show like, hey, this is a calling card for future things. And you know, to be able to make a movie of this level and to be, you know, show it to Lionsgate and have them buy it the first pass was pretty incredible. So we're looking forward to doing a lot more. And I know Andre is going to have a lot of success in this industry, and he's poised for it.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. And Andre, I have to ask, because obviously you and Uriah have worked so well together in martial arts. What was it like for you just seeing him flex these other muscles and all of a sudden, because, you know, we know Uriah, you've been a businessman and a lot of other things, but for you, Andre, what was it like watching your coach basically now switch gears and be a movie producer?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like you said, you know, there's a lot of executive producers on projects that just sort of dump money in, and that's important. It's really good. You need those people, but to actually be a producer on the set and help keep things like it's, you know, on the movie set, it's just like anything else. You have to juggle a bunch of things. You have to keep a bunch of things up in the air. And so it was really cool to see Faber, you know, kind of switch hats and help out where he could help out and take care of things and get all these pieces lined up on set. It was really cool to see. It was cool to be a part of. I think Faber and I are similar in the respect that, like, when we do something, we want it to stand on its own. Like, we don't want to be fighters that did a movie, you know, like, I don't want to be a good actor for a fighter. Like, he doesn't want to be a producer of a movie, like, and have it be gimmicky. Like, it should stand on its own. It should be good for what it is, you know? And I think it was cool to see him do that. Like, he set out to make a real badass, legit movie, you know, that really has nothing to do with MMA, and he did it, and it was cool to be a part of it. It was really cool.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense because we have seen that. We've seen fight movies and, like you said, fighters in movies, and you kind of wince a little bit, and you're like, oh, nice try. But so
it's
for
gimmicky.
you, Uriah, with this, you know, we're saying it comes out on the 14th. Since you're the producer, are you, you know, I know coronavirus times may be affecting your distribution for this. So what are you doing with that? Have you taken it out to, you know, film festivals? What's the plan in terms of it for marketing this and getting people to see it?
So, you know, the way this has worked, and I know you know quite a bit about the industry. We're not taking it out anywhere. We already sold it. So Lionsgate bought the film, and it's in their court. We're releasing the movie in 4 days, and so it'll be on you know, on demand. It'll be in Redbox. It'll be in UAE. It's going to be available for people. So we've got an international distribution deal that we still own as a Faber Opposite, the company, and you know, Rick Lee, who is really the guy that put this whole thing together, his concept, and he's an MMA-based reporter or MMA-based you know, director and producer as well. And then Gerard Roxburgh, he's my partner on my company. So that portion's taken care of. It's already out of our hands at this point. We're just doing our best to get people to watch it and show it. And that's the thing that's rare for and people are always telling me, I've been studying this industry for about 8 years now, and I've got quite a few scripts and some life rights and some really cool projects, documentaries, scripted, you know, all this stuff that we're working on. But learning the business side was the fun part for me, and understanding that unlike mixed martial arts, when I got into mixed martial arts, it was the Wild West. There was no real game plan. But in entertainment, there's unions, and there's you know, standard this and standard that, and there's
a way
of
doing
things.
Pieces
that you learn, and if you're intelligent enough to figure it out, or resourceful enough, or you lean on enough people that know what they're doing, you can make it happen. So being able to have our first movie, our first feature film, have it sold to Lionsgate, which is an amazing company, and now we have a distribution deal internationally that we're putting together right now, and almost finished with, you know, days away from that. That's the next step, and the next project, hopefully we'll be able to get Fili in it. We're very close to finishing this deal on the Manly Art of the KO, and I was kind of joking with Conor McGregor, saying that this movie was written for him.
Yeah.
But we've got some incredible talent. We had a director out that Andre got to meet, not too long ago. That's been on big budget films. Who's really behind this idea, and we're going to try to get some real top name talent and make a bigger budget film on this one. So,
nice.
Green Rush was so much fun to make. It was literally a passion project for everyone involved. Yeah. Paul Telfer, who's like the main villain in the movie, yes. he actually wrote the film along Danny Acosta, who's the MMA writer.
Yeah.
And Gerard Roxburgh, I met him on The Ultimate Fighter set. He was a producer, and I had him write a script for me maybe 7 years ago that we're still, wanting to do.
Yeah.
But this was everything falling into place and saying, hey guys, let's just put our money where our mouth is. We all pitched in, and like I said, Andre's read scripts with me a bunch. So whenever I have an opportunity to be in a movie or do something, I call Andre, and he plays off and does his part. And I was like, man, this guy, I could just tell that Andre's a natural when it comes to acting, and he killed it. We did a Skype call where we were all in doing a table read, and Andre had done his homework and blew the directors away. So I'm looking forward to the future, and I hope that people love the movie. It's definitely a movie you're going to want to watch twice with all the twists and turns. You're going to go back and go, wait a second, watch it a second time, and so it's a good movie.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you bring up a lot of things because I've worked with Andre obviously over on UFC now, so I know, yes, this man knows how to be in front of a camera, so wasn't surprised with that at all. And actually, Rick had reached out to me, so as you know, my voice is in this film as well at the beginning.
That's
one
right.
of the newscasters there. I do have my SAG card, Uriah, so when you get the bigger budget, next time you know who to call.
You know who to call.
But,
I got you.
Yeah, but for sure. No, I want to bring up something that you mentioned with the bad guy, and I know for you, Andre, like we're saying, this is your first acting experience. But Uriah, the guy that you did get, Paul, right, the Scottish guy, that is the bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was great, and he has a great screen presence and stuff. Like Andre, for you, was there anything that you picked up from any of these guys that you learned from watching them, or just because if this guy's smart enough to write the thing as well and acted a lot, this guy's obviously got a lot of good things to share.
Yeah, I studied all the people on set and sort of their mannerisms and what they did to get ready for scenes, and Paul especially was impressive because we were all staying together in a house, and I filmed him. So not only did I see him do this really gnarly, dark, evil character for the movie we're doing. Yeah. I filmed him on his iPhone for him doing a reading for another project just while we were at the house.
Yeah.
And he in the same day I saw him go from this film awful person to being just a normal lovable dude that was hanging out with us.
Yeah.
To then hey, film this for me, and then you hit play, and then he turns into a third completely different person.
Yeah.
And I'm just it was really cool to see. It's not different than any other art, whether it's fighting or music or anything else, when you can see someone just be so familiar with their art that they can just flip a switch. It's not different than we can I'm sure Faber's a perfect example. Nice guy, good dude, family guy, and then as soon as it's time to fight, you flip the switch. It's being familiar with your art enough to just be able to turn it on, and that was something that I saw him do that was really inspiring, and I took a lot of notes from him. It's hard to really give you a list of things, but it's more just being around and seeing how people do it, and seeing sort of the way he does things. Right. You just sort of subconsciously pick up on things. Being around people who are great at something helps you be good at it.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you're right. He's a find. I can imagine him. And plus, just the character tick and everything. I could see him going on to do some good stuff. More good stuff. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you look at his IMDb, he's probably the most consistently working guy. Yeah. But all the talent in the movies in the movie have been working and doing some pretty big projects. Declan, he's actually from Scottish. I think he's Scottish as well, or Irish. I think he's Scottish actually.
Yeah, Scottish.
Misha Crosby, he's from the UK, and he's horror. He's a regular on a scripted show right now.
Okay, cool.
Telfer actually has been the hunky guy on on some.
It was
soap
Days
opera.
of Our Lives, because that's what it was. I looked it up
Yeah.
because it's funny because once the movie started playing, right? So I was like, oh, let me get familiar with these people. And Andre, to your point, one of the things when you look up Paul's IMDb is this picture of him all bloody. And I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy. And then it got to a part of the movie. I was like, oh, snap, it's from this movie. So, I'm not giving anything away there, but the guy, like you said, does get down and dirty in it.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then Mike Foy also. Mike Foy is the guy that I met out in LA. Actually, the same day that I met my wife, Jaslyn, we met at the same. We met her with Mike, like right around the same time.
Yeah.
And I just liked Mike a lot because he embodied kind of what I see in my fighters, guys like Andre and the guys that actually make it. Yeah. He had aspirations to be an actor and was working. He's been in a bunch of stuff where he always kind of plays the same guy, where he's. But he's in there with big actors on big TV shows and whatnot. And I was like, man, this guy has talent. You know, I see talent, and I see the fact that he's being consistent and chasing his dream and doing the things that he has to do, in addition to things that he you know, doesn't necessarily love to do in order to follow his dream. And so, you know, most of the characters in this film in particular were written for them. Declan and Misha and Andre and Telfer and Mike Foy and the list goes on. These characters are written specifically for these guys, and we wrote the script as we were raising money and everything else because we knew we could do it.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing to help find talent, help create our own Who's Who network, I like to call it.
Very nice. Well, before I know you guys got to get out of here. I know you have a family, the sweetest little baby, Uriah. Before you joined us,
so
Andre and I were talking like your baby's not even real. She's not even real. She's so cute. I can't even take it. But you know, I used to cover entertainment a lot before I switched to sports, and as the producer here at Uriah, it kind of falls on you a little bit more. Now, usually they would send us to press junkets, and they'd send us away with goodie bags, and the goodie bags usually had something to do with the theme of your movie. And so the theme of your, you know where I'm going with this. The theme of your movie is weed, Uriah. So what are you sending out for us? Where's our goodie bags?
You know, actually, you know, I myself don't have access to a bunch of that, to be honest. I mean, we could probably pull some strings out here in NorCal, but
we can figure something out for sure.
Yeah, we actually have Ease, which is partnering with us to promote this. So anybody that orders with Ease will get a poster that folds into an ashtray, and it's going to be all the details of the movie. So anybody that gets an Ease delivery right here in the quarantine times are going to get a fold out with the details of the movie, and it turns into ashes, so they can sit there and look at Andre's face or whoever's on it and drop ashes on him. But you know, it's kind of cool, you know. And I'm not a big, you know, a guy into the marijuana space necessarily. I have a lot of friends and stuff that are involved on the business side and it's part of their everyday life. I was just happy to make a movie that I'm familiar with, Northern California, of course, and it's kind of a genre right now where people are interested in always changing times. I just watched Murder Mountain yesterday, which is a crazy documentary on Netflix that I was like, oh my gosh, this is like describing our movie, but ours, you know, everyone's a lot better looking in our movie.
It's like describing where I grew up, dude. yeah, exactly. So I'm pumped. I mean, people are gonna love this movie. I feel like this could be have a little cult following and really get some momentum, especially across the globe where people are still kind of, it's a mystery to people what it's like in Northern California and how prevalent, you know, that business is, like, you know, in Japan and over in Holland and everywhere else. I mean, Holland has their own market, but it's much different. Yeah. So I'm excited for people to be entertained, maybe learn a little something, and definitely get the heebie-jeebies, because Paul, although he's a nice guy, comes off as a real creep in the movie.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And there were a couple times you're like, wait, oh no, oh no. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Well, good.
It's good stuff. Well, Andre, obviously this is already a success for both of you guys, and I suppose I can ask this of both of you, but I suppose, Andre, maybe we would see you fighting a little bit sooner, but do you know, like, what the future holds for you guys in terms of the fight game?
I'm going to win a bunch of fights, and then I'm going to win that world title, and then hopefully we just run off and do movies right off into the sunset. Right off into the sunset and move to Hollywood, and you guys never see me in the cage again. But for the next few years, I want to be fighting, and I'm trying to fight again. I was trying to fight again in May on that San Diego card, but coronavirus had other plans. So I'm staying ready. I'm actually at the park right now. As soon as we get off the phone, I'm going to be training with one of my teammates, just the two of us, and practicing social distancing, but staying in shape. So,
nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep fighting, but I'm excited to keep making movies too. So.
Cool. Well, you got us watching whatever you're doing because we know that you're a killer inside the octagon as well. And so for you, Uriah, what's the deal with the fight game for you?
You know, I'm not opposed to taking some fights. I was joking, but it's kind of hitting home.
Yeah.
This whole economic crash is going to be nuts. I don't know how it's going to play out in the long run. Hopefully everything bounces right back, but it's a scary time. So, you know, there will be a time where I will not be able to fight. And right now, if I do, I need to get in amazing shape before I just jump in there. Yeah. But I wouldn't be opposed to having some fights. I kind of made a long-term play when I came out of retirement. I want to do 4 fights after 40, and I'm 2 in. But you know, it's not set in stone. I would like to get in there and mix it up a little more, just because it sounds like fun. And there'll be a very definite time when I can't, and I'm aware of that. You know. Yeah.
Well, look at you're already in the Hall of Fame, so there's not much more to say about that, though. Listen, thank you guys for doing this with me today, and congratulations. We watched the film, we enjoyed it, so I know a lot of your fans are going to feel this one, and you know it does. It builds up and it builds up, and then all of a sudden, like you said, you're like, wait a minute. Did that guy double cross that dude? Like, yeah. So, so good for you. Congratulations, and once again, Uriah, where can everybody find this thing starting on the 14th?
This is going to be on demand, where you buy your movies. It's going to be in Redbox if you order Redbox. I think it's called UDA.
Something like that.
Let me see. I forget. But it shouldn't be too hard to find. Internationally, we're going to be just a little bit behind in that because we're just finishing up that deal. But it'll be everywhere in the world very soon, shortly after.
Awesome. Well, congratulations already. Just best of luck to you guys. Keep up the great work, and hopefully we'll be able to see you soon in person and give you a high five.
Cool. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being in the movie, Karyn.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was fun.
Later, guys.
Cool.
All right,
see you later.